dreams are messages from the deep. When you go to sleep at night, usually dreams just happen. They aren't forced. They aren't created with any effort. So to unlock your inner strength, recognize that it's simply a matter of opening yourself to it. In this dream, you are invited to choose the path. You can do whatever you'd like while listening to this. You can sit or lay down comfortably. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. If you decide to keep your eyes open, you may find it helpful to focus on a spot in front of you or on the video. And if you find yourself wanting to close your eyes later in this experience, that's okay too. You can also choose to listen to this in the background as you do something else, something that you don't mind doing while you're distracted. Make sure it's something you can do safely while you are distracted. You may want to listen while you're doing chores, working out, or any other activity that you can do on autopilot, but not while driving or anything like that. If there's nothing to do, you can rest and relax where you are. Before you go on this journey, you must know a few things. Listen carefully and follow as closely as you can as you begin whatever activity you've chosen, either listening to this in the background or listening while you rest and relax. In this journey, you're invited to tap into your desert power. Allow yourself to imagine that there is a desert inside of your mind. Perhaps it's not just a desert. Maybe it's an entire planet covered in dunes of sand. Perhaps you can even imagine elements of a desert environment coloring your current experience. You can start to wonder how what you're doing now might be impacted by such an environment. And because you are imagining a desert, as you are resting there or engaged in some other activity, you may find yourself thinking about drinking water throughout this experience. You may find that drinking some water will sound like a really good idea as you become more and more immersed in whatever you're doing right now. But try to hold off until the end of this experience. Of course, always listen to your body, and if you need to get water, do so. But for now, let this be an exercise. Your mind and body can communicate so well with each other that just imagining yourself in a world where water is scarce could trigger the sensation of being thirsty. And you might be curious as to how that urge to drink water will develop over the course of this journey. Noticing such a sensation means you can become absorbed in your inner world, even while you're continuing to do what you're doing with your conscious mind, either busying yourself or resting while focusing on these words. And you may agree that living on a planet completely covered in sand might be challenging for some. Since you're open to revealing your own sense of strength, you might wonder what might a desert planet teach you about overcoming challenges. The desert, like life, is complex. It can be quiet and still. It can be thriving and active. It can be relentless but surreal. The desert can be so beautiful when the sun is low. The people living on this desert planet would know a few things about how to thrive in the face of difficulty. And as you continue on with whatever you're doing right now, I'll share with you some of the ways of the desert. On this planet, people understand that the depth of your concentration is all that matters. It will carry you inward, and there, you will find your desert power. Before we go any further into the dunes, let's practice tapping into it. The key to discovering your desert power isn't about forcing concentration to happen. It's about connection to your environment. So right now, Notice whatever it is you're doing and be completely present with it. Whether you're busy doing something or whether you're relaxing with your eyes open or closed, there may be distractions that come up. Maybe an unrelated thought emerges. Maybe you notice some self-talk in the background. Maybe you notice a sound or sensation in your current experience. This time, be open to the idea of not trying to push the distraction away. The people living on this desert planet know not to fight against the sands, but move with its rhythms. So if you notice something that pulls you away from these words, or away from whatever you're doing right now, acknowledge it in your next exhale. Give it a label. Maybe you mark it as something that is not desert power. So you say to yourself, not desert power, and bring your focus back to what you're doing. For now, the only thing that contains desert power is what you're doing right now, whether you are busy doing something or resting deeper. Desert power is only contained in these words and the sensation of going deeper into an intentional trance, intentional focus, intentional flow. Every time you notice something that takes you away from your desert power, acknowledge it by labeling it. You can say, not desert power, to yourself on the next exhale. Then come back to whatever it is you're doing when you inhale. Stay with it. Stay with these words and notice the feeling of that desert power whenever you return back to it. Every time you come back to focusing on what you're doing, the stronger your connection becomes to the desert. You can see the expanse of sand past the horizon in your mind's eye. Your eye might create illusions of puddles, mirages of waves in the heat of the red sun. Take a deep breath in and out. Remember that any distraction that takes you away from these words or whatever it is you're doing right now is not desert power. Label any distraction as not desert power with every exhale. Feel the dry heat of the desert in your mind. With each breath you take, notice the stillness of flow. Only the sound of the wind, tumbling grains of sand down the dunes in soft whispers. Maybe you even notice spice in the air. On this planet, you'll recognize it when you see the sand shimmer. If you don't know what spice is, don't worry. You'll learn more about it in a bit. But for now, continue tapping into that desert power. With each breath you take, feel the air go into your nose. Feel the air flow out through your mouth. Stay here now. Breathe air in. Breathe air out. Relax your jaw and feel that air on your tongue as you focus on whatever you're doing right now. Taking notice of anything that is not desert power when you exhale, and then focusing deeper as you inhale. You may feel an urge to swallow now or soon, and when you follow that urge to swallow now or maybe in a bit, consider it a signal to focus even deeper. It can bring to mind the unrelenting desert heat as you focus on what you're doing right now. As you become one with whatever you're doing right now, completely connected with this experience or this feeling of going into hypnosis. And the more you continue with what you're doing right now, the more progress you'll make on your journey across the desert. Keep maintaining your connection with that desert power as I share with you another tool that can assist you on your journey. You may or may not have heard of something called the voice. The The voice is your inner resolve. It's that voice inside of you directly connected with your desert power. And when it tells you something that you want to do and it feels safe and appropriate, you can instantly and automatically respond to it. When another person you trust connects with your voice, the instinct to respond will feel even stronger, but only if it serves to push you in the direction you want to go. Remember, the voice isn't something outside of yourself. Even if another person connects to the voice within, you will only follow it if you feel safe and comfortable to do so. As you make your way across the desert, as you feel the sun against your skin, the dry wind wisping across the sands, as you continue to focus completely on these words and whatever you're doing right now, letting any distraction be dismissed as not desert power, it is a good time to practice using the voice. I will connect with your voice now using the word Narja. On this desert planet, the word Narja means focus. Invite yourself to become more absorbed in this experience every time you hear the word Narja. Every time you hear the word Narja, allow yourself to get lost in whatever you're doing right now, to the point where you become one with the experience. And getting lost in whatever you're doing right now, or falling deeper into intentional trance, you instantly respond to suggestions you want to experience. Your only task is to focus on what you're doing right now. Follow along and relax. Narja. Take a deep breath in and imagine breathing in your desert power, merging with it. And exhale. Feel the dry air on your tongue. Swallow if you need to. Allow the resilient desert to move within you. Let's make the voice stronger. Whenever you hear a snap and the word wake, you can pause what you're doing. If you're moving, you can stop. If you're working on something, you can stop. If you're resting, you can blink your eyes open or return to your current surroundings more alert. It is good to take a pause on this journey. In 1, 2, 3, wake. Good. Next time you hear the voice, it's going to be even stronger. Imagine what it would feel like to hear the voice and instantly drop back into whatever activity you're engaged in. What would it feel like to go deep into that intentional trance? To master the voice is to direct your mind in the direction you want it to go. Maybe you like the idea of feeling the desert inside your mind, and in your current experience even more. You might feel the warmth of the sun this time. You might feel a wisp of wind pushing against you as you continue your activity or continue resting. Even if you're just resting with your eyes open or closed, you can drop back into that world, labeling any distractions as not desert power, and returning to your focus with your inhale, instantly and automatically, in 3, 2, 1, Narja. Continue with what you were doing before, even if it was nothing at all, even if it's just sinking deeper into the flow of hypnosis. The sun is high in the sky now. In the desert, you can barely make out where you're going as the rays settle over the dunes. Though it has been a while since you've had anything to drink, you keep going. The more the desert winds push against you, the more you start to feel that inner strength. The conviction you bring to the voice will bring power to your intention, to this now moment. 3, 2, 1, Narja. Following the flow of the desert as you wake. Imagine yourself facing the endless sea of sand, as far as the eye can see, without a drop of water to drink. Ahead is the unknown. Ahead is uncertainty, but you are connected to the power of the desert itself. Nausea. You continue with what you were doing, sand walking from left to right, like a gentle dance, drawing lines in the sand. As you wake, repeat to yourself, I am strong. You are strong. Nausea. Repeat to yourself, I am stronger than my fears. You are stronger than your fears. The desert is not kind to negative talk. It doesn't exist here. Where spice flows, doubt disappears. Only that which serves you can thrive. Wake, take a break. Come back into awareness and take a break from what you're doing. We'll practice one more time. This time you will feel no separation between the voice and your own conviction to remain focused and be open to profound knowing of your inner strength. The voice in you will become one, and you will return to what you were doing with the most powerful sense of concentration and focus you've ever had. Whether you go deep into trance or deep into your inner world, it will happen as quickly as you would like in 1, 2, 3. Nausea. You're back in the desert, continuing your journey, continuing what you were doing, feeling your power now, feeling yourself completely let go. The desert can be unpredictable. We must practice adapting to it. If you're listening to this in the background while you're doing something else, continue with what you are doing, but change the way you approach it. What would happen if you picked up the pace? And if you're resting, either sitting or laying down, allow your arm to lift up and out in front of you, palm facing down, as if you're placing your hand in a box in front of you. Allow that arm to become stiff and rigid like stone. You will find that this change will be easy to maintain. The more you listen, the easier it gets, and the easier it gets, the more you listen. As you continue your activity or hold your arm completely still, breathe in. Notice the air flow into your lungs, and breathe out through your mouth. A cool glass of water might be very good right now, but you can easily continue. You know that sip of water is going to feel amazing once you're done with your journey, but for now you continue to follow along and remain deeply focused. You can just continue without thinking about it, holding that arm there or making a change to whatever you're doing, proving to yourself that you can make that journey all the way to your destination, deeper and deeper, until only the things that support your desert power matter. Anything that is not desert power can be acknowledged, but you can always return to nausea, return to your focus, whether your eyes are open or closed. Whether you're doing something else while listening or resting with your arm in front of you, you continue on. You continue listening to the voice. Nausea. Imagine you've been in this desert for days and days on this journey. You start to slow down, or perhaps time starts to slow down. The sand beneath you starts to feel harder and harder to move through. Each step forward takes even more effort. Earlier I mentioned something called spice. It's a natural substance in this desert. You've had a lot of exposure to it, and you may start to feel its effects. Spice exposure might make your limbs heavier, so heavy that if you're holding your arm up, it'll start to feel harder and harder to hold up. It will start to sink down until it eventually returns back to where it was resting. If you're holding your arm up, you can let it fall right back down as you start to sink deeper into this drifty feeling of trance and the intoxicating spice in your system. If you're listening to this in the background while doing something else, you can let your pacing slow down with each exhale. As you breathe in the spice, as you breathe in hypnosis, when you feel yourself start to slow down, it feels as if you're pushing against the wind, as if you're in a sandstorm. You're pushing through this wall of wind and sand. Notice how it feels to push through even further. The storm creates a fog that turns the sky into a fascinating, beautiful, whimsical color. But no matter how much it slows you down, you continue on. As the spice begins to swirl in your mind, as the voice rings in your ear, you are strong. You are stronger than your fears. You can make it through, no matter what storms may come, no matter what trials you have to face. Fear has no hold over you. You can face your fears. You can continue on. You have everything you need inside of you. Believe the voice when it tells you that you can. Dreams are messages from the deep, and you see yourself in the future, making it to the other side. You see yourself making it through a challenge in your life, or making a change. Really imagine yourself having continued on. Remember that this version of yourself is a part of you now, connected with your desert power. Let it carry you now to help you experience suggestions you want to experience. Wake. Become more aware of your surroundings for a moment. Notice the disruption. Notice the fog of the spice pulling at the corners of your mind. Feel the urge to go back under and continue what you were doing before you took this pause. You know that when you go back under, when you step back out into the desert, you can face it with an inner strength that is unstoppable. Nausea. Drop. Continue. Even deeper into the experience. As you pick up the pace, you're no longer being held back by the storms. Lose yourself in it all as your mind and body float in the flow of what you're doing. No need to think about it. Just let it happen. Allow this to be a meditative time, and allow the messages to wash over you. You are stronger than your fears. You can make it through. As you continue on, you feel the ground beneath you rumble. No matter what storms may come. One of the most dangerous creatures in these lands are the sandworms. These gigantic creatures burrow underneath the sands, emerging when it's time to feed. But you now know the ways of the desert. You can remain focused on what you're doing. For even when there is fear present, even when there are doubts or distractions, you can acknowledge them and return to your focus when it is in your best interest. For any monsters in your life right now or in the future, you can hold the suggestion in your heart. You have desert power. You are enough. You pick up the pace even more with what you're doing, even if it's only falling deeper into the depths of hypnosis. Nausea. That's it. Just like that. Nausea. Even more focused, even more absorbed, moving even faster down. Breathe in and out. Feel the air against your tongue, knowing that once you complete your journey, you can reward yourself with water. When this experience ends, it may be a good idea to go and find some water to drink. After such an experience in the desert, you can drink it mindfully. You can drink in appreciation, knowing that in the here and now, your mind and body will be nourished by it. There may be seasons where water could seem scarce and you're looking for some relief, some sense of peace and joy. You can think of this word. You can think of the voice inside of you and the music of this desert planet whispering, nausea. And you will be able to continue on. You can instantly and automatically tap into your desert power. You can listen to the positive, hopeful voice within. Nausea. In a moment, you will return back to your home world. When you do, you'll feel the urge to enjoy a refreshing drink of water. Afterwards, if you're not finished with whatever you're doing, you may choose to continue, and if you do, you can come back to it with the same amount of focus and ease until you feel complete. Or you can rest, giving thanks to the powerful one within. Waking up at the count of 5. 1. Taking the suggestions that are beneficial along with you. 2. Starting to leave the desert, anticipating a cool, refreshing sip of water. 3. Starting to open your eyes if you had them closed. Starting to slow down and pause whatever you're doing. 4. Coming back into full awareness. And 5. Wide awake. 5. Wide awake. Welcome back to your homeworld. It's time for a drink of water, but before you go, be sure to give this a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, remember to focus, play along, and relax.